Hello, boys and parents. Mr. Cimino here with a short screencast to explain a topic which I get a lot of questions about every year, moving up in mathematics. I'd like to explain the process in detail so that if you are interested in moving up in math or your son is interested in moving up in math, you can take a look at this. It'll only take about 5 minutes, and hopefully it'll answer all of your questions. So I would like to start out by explaining what the normal class progression is at Delbarton. All of our 7th graders, with a very few exceptions, are taking Algebra 1A right now, and they will move to Algebra 1B in 8th grade. In 9th grade, they'll take geometry. In 10th grade, Algebra 2 and trig. In 11th grade, pre-calc. And in 12th grade, there are many options, many different types of calculus, AP Stat, linear algebra, and so on. So what does it mean to move up in math over the summer? What it means is that over the summer, a boy takes an experience in the next logical class in the progression, such that when the following September rolls around, he's ready for the class that's 2 classes ahead of where he is in the previous year. So an Algebra 1A student who wants to move up in math will end up in geometry in 8th grade. An Algebra 1B student in 8th grade who wants to move up in math will end up in Algebra 2 trig in the following September, and so on. So we have 4 ways of moving up, 4 different ways or avenues that a boy can go down in order to successfully move up. The first of those is to take the class here at Delbarton. Of course, there are other summer schools available, such as Newark Academy. Boy can take the class through a tutor, and you can even hire a tutor to teach more than one boy. And this is very helpful for the boys and has been in the past. So parents can get together and hire a tutor for 2, 3, 4 boys at a time. And finally, a boy can take the class through an approved online provider, such as the Center for Talented Youth through Johns Hopkins. No matter what option you take, the boy must come to Delbarton to demonstrate his proficiency in whatever subject he took over the summer. It's very important that the boy is available on July 29th, 2021, to take the final exam. Right? If the boy has taken the class through a tutor, taken the class online, or taken the class at another school, he absolutely must be here physically on the 29th to take the final. Occasionally, arrangements are made to take the test before the 29th, but they never do it after. And the boys that take the class here will take their final on the 30th, which is the next day. This is a multi-step process, and it's a multi-step process for a very important reason, which hopefully will become clear as I move on. First thing I ask the boys to do is to have a one-on-one conversation with their current math teacher. No one knows your son's mathematical ability and maturity as a student better than the mathematics teacher. So I ask them to talk to the math teacher. And really, they're asking the math teacher one question, not for permission to move up, because that is granted by me and by the department chair. But what does the math teacher think about the viability of him moving up? Does the boy have the maturity and the mathematical ability to do an entire class's worth of math over the summer? The second thing the boy has to do is to come and talk to me. Now, I will have already asked the math teachers for their opinion of every boy, so that when the boy comes to me, or when you call, I'll already know what the math teacher thinks. Now, I'm going to ask the boys a couple of simple questions. One is, why do you want to move up in math? That's a very important consideration. Second question I'll ask is, what is the method by which you will move up in math? The boy says, I don't know. I don't know why I want to move up in math, or I don't know the method by which I'm going to move up in math. Then I'm going to ask him to go home and start thinking about those things before he comes back to me. The third step in the process, assuming that the first 2 are satisfied, is to talk to the mathematics department chairperson, Mr. Johnson. So I will tell your son where he can find Mr. Johnson. The boy has to go and have a similar conversation with him. Mr. Johnson is going to ask essentially the same questions that I will. Mr. Johnson will also provide your son with an online form that has to be completed. At the end of the online form, there's going to be a hard copy which has to be printed out and signed by the boy, signed by his parents, has to be brought into school, signed by me, and finally it lands in the hands of Mr. Johnson. All this is done so that we're very deliberate about this decision, so that we have record of who wants to move up and who doesn't move up, and so that we really give a lot of thought to this decision. Essentially, there are only two requirements for moving up in mathematics. The boy has to have and maintain an A average. Now, this doesn't mean if your son has an A average, he should move up in math. In fact, he might not get the endorsement from me as informed by the mathematics teacher if he has an A. The boy has to really be excellent at mathematics. Then, of course, the second bullet is that I have to sign the form giving my endorsement, and so does Mr. Johnson, the mathematics department chair. Naturally, something like this produces a lot of questions, and so I would encourage you to ask your son to contact me with his questions and allow him to self-advocate. And by that I mean, we're always trying to put boys in responsible positions here. So whereas I know you will have many questions, I ask that you ask your son to ask me the questions that he has. Naturally, you should feel free to email me as well. I'm available before school for about an hour. I'm available after school, essentially an unlimited time. Boys can come and see me during M block. They can see me through Zoom pretty much any time during the day that they're free, except for the classes that I teach. And I'm even happy to meet with you or them over Zoom in the evening if that's what it takes. I want to make myself available so that any question that you or your son has gets answered. That's pretty much it. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns, and I hope you have a great day.